A wildfire that sparked in Boulder County is now out after charring 19 acres near a trail. But another day of warm temps and winds has us keeping an eye on fire danger. New body camera video shows Arapahoe County deputies who shot a man in the back, killing him, while investigators say they won't comment yet. And keep an eye on your mailbox. Today is the last day for county clerks in Colorado to send out your midterm ballot. Some things to keep in mind.
Thanks so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Jason Grenauer. We begin this morning in Boulder, where a wildfire that sparked last night and continued burning into this morning is now 100% contained, but not before charring 19 acres. Now, no structures were affected, and now crews are watching the dry conditions and the winds expected in that area today. And with those warm and windy conditions today, fire danger, something that we're monitoring. Here's a live look from our Lookout Mountain Cam, and weather changes are brewing here in Colorado. Meteorologist Stacey Donaldson joins us now. Stacey, we are talking about red flag warnings and then a major cool down, maybe even snow.
That's right. Big changes on the way in the next few days. So enjoy this warm weather while it's around. Now, the flip side of that, we have to watch out for high fire danger. That fire that was burning in Boulder County had a few flare-ups early this morning. So we're really keeping an eye on that. The high fire danger, the red flag warnings starting at noon today. We're going to have high temperatures, low humidity, and gusty winds. So the high fire danger here, especially into northern Colorado, is where we have the red flag warning for today. As we go into tomorrow, red flag warning here from Colorado Springs down towards Springfield and into Trinidad. Now here for Denver, we're not under the warning, but Boulder County is. It stretches up toward Fort Collins and Estes Park. And we also have a fire weather watch for Sunday. So we're not quite out of the woods, even as this cold front is moving into Colorado, because we are still going to have those warm temperatures across the eastern plains while things are cooling down here for the Front Range. And yes, we're talking chances for snow, especially in the high country, but maybe here in Denver. We'll talk more about it coming up.
All right, Stacey. Well, you can get 24/7 Colorado weather updates and live radar right on your TV. Just download the free Denver 7 Plus app for your favorite streaming device. Investigators have released body camera video showing a March confrontation between a man and Arapahoe County deputies that ended with that man dead.
Sheriff's office, put your hands out the window. Put your hands out the window. Put your hands.
Now, this all happened back in March at the Ivy Crossing apartment complex near Harvard and Quebec. Deputies say they were responding to a report of a stolen car. When they confronted the man, they say he started to back up. One of the deputies shot him in the back, killing him. Now, the DA's office says they will not comment on the case or say whether those deputies will be charged or not until the investigation is finished. The Montbello Career and Technical High School is staying open. Last night, the Denver Public Schools Board voted unanimously to postpone that closure indefinitely. The decision came after Superintendent Alex Marrero announced he was reversing the district's recommendation to close the school at the end of the academic year. Now, the district is still considering closing some schools because of declining enrollment, but those closures, which have not been announced, are not expected until the end of the 2023-2024 school year. The board will vote on next steps coming up in November. Well, school safety specialists from around the country are taking part in a summit here in Colorado today.
People are really understanding that we have to be focused on school safety. And we know, for instance, that parents are very concerned about the safety of their children at school. Although I have to say the schools in Colorado have focused on school safety for years and years.
Colorado's School Safety Resource Center is hosting the summit today. There are 30 workshops focused on helping school staff, training emergency responders, and talking about mental health. Colorado's School Resource Center helps districts statewide. New this morning, Aurora leaders are taking a new approach to addressing the city's growing homelessness issue. Already this year, we told you that they banned outdoor camping and passed a resolution asking you to give to charities instead of panhandlers in Aurora. Well, now, as soon as Monday, the Denver Gazette reports Mayor Mike Hoffman will ask the city manager to come up with a new comprehensive system for reducing homelessness. Mayor Kaufman tells the Gazette it will include a new city facility that will have housing programs and services all in one place. It comes after city leaders toured facilities in Houston, San Antonio, and Colorado Springs. The Aurora facility would have tiers of services to first get people safely off the streets, but eventually transition them into their own place. The Gazette reports the facility could cost $50 million. As for Denver, you have until Wednesday to weigh in on Denver's $254 million homeless plan for the new year. Among the priorities, creating or preserving affordable housing, getting people off the streets and into programs, and eviction legal defenses. Meanwhile, the town of Dillon is looking at ways to provide affordable housing for workers in that community. One of their plans involves buying housing units at full price and then reselling them to the local workforce at a reduced rate. Town council could also buy property and rent it out to Dillon locals. The plans are just in the discussion stages and no decision has been made. Former President Donald Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, is going to prison for 4 months. He was convicted of contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena from the committee investigating the Capitol riots. ABC's M. Wynn has more from Washington.
One-time advisor to former President Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, sentenced to 4 months in prison and ordered to pay a fine of $6,500 for 2 counts of criminal contempt of Congress.
I respect the judge. The sentence he came down with today is his decision. I fully respect. I've been totally respectful of this entire process.
The Trump-appointed federal judge agreeing with Bannon that he should not have to serve a sentence while he appeals. A jury this summer finding Bannon guilty for failing to produce a single document and refusing to sit down for a deposition with the House committee investigating the deadly January 6 attack on the Capitol. The panel subpoenaing Bannon last September to find out why he made foretelling comments on his podcast a day before the insurrection.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow.
For months, Bannon refused to cooperate, claiming executive privilege despite leaving the White House back in 2017. The committee instead playing audio from Bannon during a public hearing from before the election happened, saying Trump planned to declare victory whether or not he won.
He's going to declare victory. But that doesn't mean he's the winner.
After the sentencing, Bannon said he will appeal his contempt of Congress conviction. Meanwhile, the January 6 House Select Committee could serve a subpoena to former President Trump at any moment. M. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home, your ballot should be arriving in your mailbox soon. Today is the last day for county clerks in Colorado to send out those ballots. The Secretary of State's office says if you don't receive yours in the next few days, you can contact your county clerk. Ballots should be mailed back by October 31st. That's a week from Monday, Halloween. After that, ballots will need to be returned to drop boxes or voting centers by 7 p.m. on Election Day in order to count. Early voting in Colorado begins on Monday. Now, Colorado voters got their blue books earlier on this month. Mine has been sitting, waiting for my ballot to arrive. But now, the Douglas County School Superintendent wants to call your attention to the language about a specific bond measure in that county. The superintendent says the argument for voting against the bond measure that would raise taxes is inappropriate and factually incorrect because it refers to the district as being, quote, woke. When we asked why the argument was not edited before it was sent to voters, this is what the Denver office of the clerk and recorder said.
We really just try and administer getting this information to the voters. We don't want to try and siphon the pros or the cons. We just collect them for folks. So we have that open portal and we don't edit that at all. The only thing that we do is summarize it to make sure that it's in 500 words, but we always keep the body of the text intact.
Now, critics say this process can create an imbalance if arguments are not well constructed or easy to understand. Others argue if a clerk's office were to edit those comments, it could lead to even further bias, tipping the scales on certain issues. Well, you know, it feels like we've all been waiting for the Broncos to just click, you know, to score those 30 points, to make good game management decisions, to play a full 60-minute game. They try again to do that this weekend as they welcome the Jets to town on Sunday. But the health of the quarterback, probably the biggest of all the questions out there. Russell Wilson hurt his hamstring earlier this week against the Chargers. He's been listed as limited on the Broncos injury report. He says he's fine and plans to play, but we saw Brett Rippon taking a large portion of the snaps with the starters at practice. Here's what Coach Nate Hackett has to say.
You want the guys that want to be on the field. They're going to do every single thing they can, and they think that they can play all the time. So those are the tough discussions you have to have with people because you don't want to put anybody out there that isn't healthy because player safety is so important. But in the end, the doctors, and myself, George, we have to make sure we make the right decision for the team.
So not much of a decision. Kickoff right there from that building just after 2 on Sunday from Empower Field. Well, if you're hoping to go to the Broncos game on Sunday, the Better Business Bureau says be careful buying your tickets online.
You also want to only buy from trusted vendors, looking up their reputation, making sure that that other people have had a good experience from them, asking the refund policy. What happens if it turns out to not work and you can't get to the game? So knowing that refund policy, use payment methods that come with protection. So a credit card is a great option there.
Now, one of those trusted resellers is Ticketmaster. We checked, and there are more than 450 tickets available for the game starting at $60. And that's relatively affordable for a Broncos game, especially compared to the prices at the start of the season. And don't forget, next Sunday, the Broncos will be in London to play the Jaguars, and you can watch that game right here on Denver 7. 7:30 a.m. is the kickoff. Set your alarms. We're getting close to November and still no snow here in the metro, or not much really in the high country. How Colorado's ski resorts are getting ready for the season and what could be the first good round of snow this weekend. Plus, looking for some exciting things to do on this fall weekend. From Halloween to book sales, we've got you covered with our Denver 7 Things to Do.